is you can just sit back and relax. All right, you can keep your eyes closed or you can keep it open. It's up to you. I'm gonna mute everyone just so that we don't have any background noise while we're meditating. But as the session starts, feel free to unmute yourself anytime you have any question. All right, so with that, we'll begin our meditation. So you can sit back, relax, keep your back straight. Take a deep breath in, hold your breath, take a deep breath out, take a deep breath in, hold your breath, take a deep breath out, take a deep breath in, hold your breath, and take a deep breath out. Now slowly, let's begin to relax each and every part of our body, starting with the feet. So let's bring our awareness down to our toes, and you can flex your toes, release, flex your toes, release, relax your toes. Moving towards your ankles, you can rotate your feet in the clockwise direction. You can rotate it the anti-clockwise directions, and slowly relax your ankles and feet. Moving towards your knees, relax your knees, relax your back, relax your shoulders, your neck, and relax the muscles of your face. You can put a nice, tiny smile on your face. And now relax your whole body. Now slowly begin to focus your attention towards your forehead, in the center of the forehead. And visualize a small point of light that is situated in the center of your forehead. This tiny point of light is like a tiny star that you see in the sky that shines brightly and radiates light in darkness. Now see that light within you emitting rays of peace around your brain, charging each and every part of your brain. So see this light of peace surrounding your brain and charging the cells of your brain. And now see these rays of peace traveling downwards all the way down to your feet. These rays of peace are now spreading around your whole body, charging each and every cell in the body. I again focus on this point of light that is within me. This is the light of peace, and this light of peace always resides within me. The way to activate it is to stay in the awareness of who I truly am. I am a being of peace. The moment I create this thought and stay in the awareness of it, rays of peace automatically start to emerge from this point that is within me, around my body, and also to others around me. I am a being of peace. This is my true identity. And when I remind myself of this again and again, I turn on the switch of my awareness. And just like when we turn on the switch, light replaces darkness. Similarly, when I turn on this inner switch, peace replaces peacelessness, and love replaces anger. Om Shanti. All right, welcome everyone again to the second part of our workshop, which is on anger to peace. My name is Sneha, and I'll be helping you, I'll guide you through this particular session. So for all those who just came in, I'll be recording this session. So if you do need a recording copy of it after it's over, you can put in your email addresses in the chat and I can send it over. All right, so with that, what I'm going to do now is I'll go ahead and I'll share my screen and we can start today's class. All right, so can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Okay, wonderful. All right, so in the first part of the workshop, we had discussed a lot on anger itself, what's the origin of anger, and what we discussed through some self-reflective exercises is that anger is something that shows up or builds up within because there is a certain kind of expectation we have towards external situations or people who are around us. We expect them to behave in a certain way. And when that expectation is not met in terms of behavior or in terms of situation being a certain way, then what happens is internally there is an upheaval in a way, there's an emotional disturbance which takes a form of pain, and that form of pain then leads to anger. So anger is really a secondary emotion that we hold on to, but the primary emotion of anger comes really from a space of pain or hurt, where you were expecting something from the other person. Maybe it was self-respect, maybe it was love that you expected from somebody, and what you got in return was bad behavior. So that hurt, which was caused because of the expectation not being met, led to pain and then led to another emotion of what we call as anger. So we spoke about anger in general, that it is the expectation that we have, or it is a certain kind of control that I want to exert towards how other people should behave or how situations should be. And we very well know that that's not the case. We can never have control over anyone else. We can never have control over any other external situations, because what is external to me is not in my control. What is really in my control are my own feelings and my own emotions. So that was something we covered in the last class. And we also covered that anger is, some people say that anger is justified in certain situations, which means we call it, we call it the anger that is, justified, which means that certain people behave which is really not acceptable. And because of that, I get angry. So we give ourselves a very good reasoning as to why I should get angry. But when we really get angry, we have to ask ourselves that the situation is already negative outside of me. If I bring in my anger, it is only adding negativity to that situation. It is no way leading to a solution. It is no way leading to any productive conclusion. All we're trying to do is we're trying to just bring more negativity to the situation. We always know that solutions don't come up when we're in a state of anger, because when we're in a state of anger, we're not really in control of our mind. We're not only in control of our words, we're not in control of our senses. And in order to make decisions, in order to carry out good judgments, you have to be in control of your mind, your words, and also your actions. And anger deters that. Anger doesn't let that happen. So really, if I'm looking for a solution and I'm looking for a long lasting solution, many people say that with anger, I get things done, right? That, some people don't understand the words of sweetness. So I have to get rough with them. I have to get angry with them. So that would lead to a temporary solution. Maybe as you shout at somebody, you get your work done. But in the long run, what are you doing? If that person you're shouting to every day, maybe, in a workplace, your boss is yelling at you to get your things done. or you are yelling at someone else to get things done, what is happening on the long run? Is that leading to a good, healthy relationship with that person? Is it leading to a good environment where you feel encouraged enough to share what you want to share, or does it create a very remote and a hostile atmosphere around you where you just feel so burdened where you can't express your own feelings? And what happens when I get angry again and again at somebody? So we discussed that, and we also discussed that you can't regress, you can't suppress, but you can't and you shouldn't even express anger, which means expressing anger is again, in a way, you are creating habits. You're creating a habit of getting angry. So if anger is your mode of operation in order to get things done, and you are getting angry, so what will happen is it's an habit you're instilling in yourself. And when something becomes a habit, it becomes a very deep rooted impression in you, where it becomes autopilot. There are certain things in our life, we don't think, we don't decide, we just go ahead and do it. For example, we wake up in the morning, we make ourselves a cup of coffee or tea. So what happens here is we don't think about making coffee in the morning or tea. We just go to the kitchen and we just start making it, right? Because it's a habit. We've done it so many times, and that experience that we've created has been recorded in us, and it's gone down deep into our subconscious mind. That's what we say. And when something's gone into subconscious mind, what happens is it becomes autopilot, which means I don't have to think, I don't have to decide. It happens naturally. So maybe waking up in the morning, brushing your teeth, we don't think I have to brush. We don't decide. We just go ahead and do it, right? Because it's a habit. So similarly, if I keep on getting angry on somebody and justifying my anger as this is the only way I can handle somebody, then yes, you'll definitely may get your work done through anger, but what is doing inside of you is very, very self-damaging, because you are creating that habit and you're sustaining that habit of getting angry. And then what will happen is you will not only get angry at the particular individual you're dealing with, uh, you'll also start getting angry on other small things. You'll get angry on other people, and every small thing will trigger a feeling of anger in you. Why? Because you expressed it again and again and again, and that became a habit. So your expressing anger will become autopilot, which means you won't even think, you won't even decide. It will come out very, very naturally, and you will feel like you have no control. So really, there's no expressing anger. So we say anger is justified. Yes, certain situations are hard to accept for all of us. But if we keep on getting angry and angry, ask yourself, who are you really damaging here? And is there a better way I can handle the situation? And the truth is, there's always a better way, right? So that was expression. And the other thing we spoke about was suppression, which means anger built up within me, but I did not express it. But that doesn't mean it wasn't there. It was created. So those feelings and those emotions were very well within me. It's just that I didn't put it out in the form of words, or I did not put it out in the form of actions. So what happens here is that anger is there, but I have not expressed it. But I have still created that anger, which means I am holding on to it and I am suppressing it. I'm not letting it come out in the form of actions or words. Now, this is again a problem, because you have created those emotions, and when emotions come, they do require an outlet, right? An outlet. So an outlet would not mean that you have an outburst. And if there are emotions surfacing of a certain kind, what you can do is you can always replace it with some positive and healing thoughts, which can lead to the transformation of your emotions. So in that ways, you're not suppressing your anger, but you're actually transforming it into something positive, into something peaceful, right? So, for example, anger builds up in me. I'll give you an example. There was a particular person I used to deal with, and the person was very sensitive. And I got to know that little later. So I used to say a few things, and I used to see suddenly the mood would drop of that soul. And I would never mean it in a way of hurting anyone, but that person used to maybe interpret in a wrong way or misunderstand. And so I used to see irritation coming from that end. I would see bits and rudeness coming from that person's end. And I always wondered, what is it that I'm saying is affecting that person that in that way. Then I realized that that soul was sensitive to a certain area in the life, and maybe when I used to speak about that, it used to trigger that area in their life. So my intention was not to say anything that was disrespectful to that person, but that person misunderstood it in a wrong way. So there was clearly a difference of understanding here. And when I got to know that oh, this is a sensitive issue for another soul, then I would make my effort not to bring it up in front of the soul, right? But what really was happening from my end was I was trying to understand why that person is getting rude, rather than just putting or concluding with a judgment that this is a rude person, that this person is like that. Because if I would have put a stamp on that person, this person is rude, I would, every time I would see that person, I would automatically bring into awareness that stamp or that label I've associated that person with, and that is of rudeness. But when you actually try to understand that what is it that's triggering these kind of emotions from that person, it helps you save relationships, and it helps you understand that person better. But also at the same time, it helps you understand yourself better, because now you step back and you kind of even looked within, that was I saying something that could have possibly triggered that kind of an emotion in another soul. So it's all about transforming anger. So there's no regression means going back. You again and again go back to that scene of when that anger was created. So it's like a flashback. So we know when we go back to our past memories, especially which cause hurt, they're really of no use. In fact, we just re-emerge those emotions again and again and hurt ourselves even more. So there's no regression, there's no going back, there's no suppression. Suppression means, again, I just don't let my let that anger is created, but I just let that anger settle in me without really working on an aspect of how can I change this, or how can I transform this anger and understand that person, or maybe create some thoughts which can work for me in that particular situation. All right, so here are some of the tips which I call as chilling tips, because when we're angry, of course, we're in a way, we've lost our cool. So the first thing is, of course, acceptance. So acceptance, again, is the first and the foremost important step when it comes to healing. You will see that when you require healing, especially of an emotional level, it always starts with acceptance. That yes, think that person is not going to behave the way I want that person to behave, or maybe I'm expecting a certain kind of respect from this person and I'm not getting that respect. So accept it, because then that will help you start your process of healing. Because when you accept, the first and the most important thing that happens is you start taking responsibility of that situation. Usually what happens is, when we don't accept things like this is not it, this is not how things are, what is happening is it's not leading to any solution, right? I just don't accept it means what? The person is not going to take responsibility, you're not going to take responsibility, then what is we're just stuck in that particular situation, right? So for if the other person is not willing to change, then I have to do something from my end to change, right? Because I can't let myself feel low or feel hurt or feel troubled by something uh, which, you know, I don't have control over, but I can definitely control my old feelings, right? So first always starts with acceptance. I'm just going to pause here for a minute because I see a few chats come in. Okay, it's about yeah, it's about the recording. So yes, I'll definitely send it over. So first is acceptance, right? So accepting that things, events, people, situations are not always going to be as per I expect. So I create a mental image of how things should be. And when reality does not match my vision or my mental image, there is a conflict, and that conflict happens within. But with acceptance, I accept that, okay, this external reality is not matching what I have created, that image I've created internally. So what is the next thing I can do in order to keep my peace, in order to keep my cool, right? So acceptance. Then the next is future focus. So what future focus really means is that when, you know, when there's someone gets angry with us, right? What usually happens is we start playing the past button, which means go in the past, we again see that situation, and we again relive the emotions of that same situation. So which means maybe someone spoke to me really badly on a certain day, and they spoke to me badly for only 4 minutes, suppose. But what I did throughout the whole day was I kept on create putting that scene. So I visualize that scene again and again. I bring it on the screen of my mind and I play the replay button, which means this scene happens again and again and again in my mind. So that person may be inflicted 4 minutes of hurt in you by saying those things. But what you chose to do is you chose to go back to the past, and you chose back to relive those moments again and again, emerging those emotions and feelings of hurt in you. So really, that person was responsible for 4 minutes of hurt, but you chose to go back and relive it. So the remaining minutes of hurt that you are inflicting on you is your self-created hurt. So really, that other person is not responsible for it, but it's you itself, because you are going back to it. You're going back to it. You know, many times, you know, in our storage or maybe in a pantry, we keep cans, you know, cans of beans or cans of food items, and we leave it there. And maybe we step in after. This is the music for a meditation pause. So maybe we can just take a minute of silence. Right. So, like I was talking about future focus. So, usually when we go into a pantry, you see cans, right? And we keep cans which where we can store food. And sometimes when we go back and we see certain things have expired. So what do we do when things have expired? We trash them, right? We don't consume them because we know that these items, these food items have already expired, and consuming them will be harmful for me. So even when it comes to past scenes and past memories of my life, they've already passed, which means the expiry due date has gone. And when I bring those past in moments into my present, one thing is I cannot change anything from the past, right? And I bring it into my present and I consume it in my consciousness, which means I bring it into my awareness and I think about something which is already past its due date. So, what happens when something, and that also something of negative in nature? Positive memories, like we say, are priceless and are immortal. So when we relive positive moments, we think about it, it's fine. But negative ones, when we bring it into our consciousness, it's like we're eating expired food, which is damaging for us. So those harmful or negative memories, when we keep on thinking about it, what happens is it affects the consciousness of the soul. You know, it leads us to us creating those negative feelings all over again. And this time it's not the other person who's doing it, it's you yourself. All right. So there's again a chat I'll quickly see. So is unconditional love possible? How do you handle toxic people full of anger, hatred, and grudge? If toxic people ignore your feelings, disrespect you, can you be a doormat and let the abuser abuse you? Express your views, move on. So you definitely don't have to be a doormat, which means you let people, all the time say things to you. But at the same time, even if they do say things to you, for example, you don't have control over certain situations. Maybe you have someone in your family member who's, rude, gets angry, or maybe a tough boss at work. Now, they might get angry at you, so it's definitely you can express your views in any situation, but it's not for us to also express it in the same way they are, which means let me not react to that anger, but let me be in a position where I can still hold on to my dignity, hold on to my self-respect, and say things with a lot of peace, where someone is getting mad at me, but I can still be very peaceful and explain to them that please don't talk to me in this way. I would really appreciate if we can have a conversation, in a peaceful manner. So expressing your views is important. We are beings. We are actually beings, and we get these bodies for what? So that we express and we experience life, right? So it doesn't mean you don't express when there are things you want to say. You can say to people, but also how you deliver your words is also very impactful, right? If someone's angry, you yell back at them, what is going to happen? We know that there's going to be more anger coming from their end, and it'll go on. It'll be like a ping pong game. You get angry, I get angry, shouting, shouting. Finally, someone would want to stop getting angry in order to calm the situation. And so really from our end, we have to express, yes, things are hurting me, things, something I want to say, but there's a way of saying it, and for that you don't have to even fake it. That means don't fake being peaceful. This is against suppression, right? Where I'm holding on to a lot of anger within, but I'm talking to you in a nice way. Our goal is not to get affected by that anger, which means I have to work on my emotional strength and make that strong. My emotions should not be so dependent on external things, because I know external things are not in my control. So if your emotions are based on so many things external, you are bound to get hurt very easily. But if your emotions are solely based on your self-respect, your own strength, and the strength comes from within, really, when you know who you are, when you sit with yourself and you appreciate who you are, when you value yourself, you will realize that even when someone gets angry, we consider it as a personal attack. It's an attack to our respect, it's an attack to our dignity. But when we realize that this respect and this dignity is actually within me, and when no one external to me can show me that, I myself know it within and I strongly feel that, then that anger will not affect me. In fact, I will be very peaceful towards that person, maintaining my self respect and dignity. I will lose my self respect and dignity when someone's reaction causes a reaction within me. But when I really stay strong from within, and even though, a situation is tough and not my way, still keep my strength from within. That's the focus we need to have. That's what we learn through meditation: self-respect, loving yourself, valuing yourself. And this is what keeps us going, because externally we know things are changing. A lot of things changed this year for us, and we never know. But when we work within, that remains permanent and that is long lasting. So this was what we need to focus on. So future focus really means is, let me not go back to the past, but let me see that, what can I do next? What can I do to solve the situation? What can I do for this relationship to be better? So my focus, my energy is going on something which is, for the present and for the future. So you can even visualize, and what we do, that if you're having a hard time with somebody, you just create, before even interacting with that soul, you just visualize having a very, very good conversation with that soul. And then with those vibrations, you go and approach that particular soul. So it's called future focus. So I remember there was someone who shared, when sweet little girl, she shared a story where she used to have a very tough time with her boss at work. All right. So what she started to do was, before the boss used to even come to work, she used to go and sit on her boss's seat. And this is really sweet. She used to sit on her boss's seat, and she used to fill the whole place with a lot of peaceful vibrations that, my boss is sitting here. My boss is very calm. My boss is very kind. So there's vibrations of love and peace around. And when my boss comes, we will have a very, very good conversation. So basically what she did was, she already created a visualization in her mind how the interaction will go with that person. And so what she did was, she charged herself with positive energy. What she could have also done is thought about the previous day, when the boss was really not behaving well with her or getting angry for her work. And that would have triggered negative energy. And with that, a negative energy, if you interact with somebody, it leads to negative exchange of energy, right? But she did the opposite. She went and she created a beautiful visualization that we're going to have a good conversation together. And she did it for a week. She every day went early and sat there, gave vibrations to the place. And then before even talking to the boss, we're going to have a very good conversation. Things are going to be fine. We're going to talk like good friends. We're going to understand each other. So that was, the visualization she created before even approaching the boss. And after a week itself, she started seeing results. She saw the change where her boss was becoming more open, more understanding. The behavior changed. So what she did was, she chose not to look at the past, but she chose to focus on what I can do next in order to mend this relationship, right? So what we can do is, we can just pause here for a minute or two and do exactly the same. Bring in the screen of your mind someone who's giving you maybe a hard time. Let's send them those vibrations of peace together. All right. And I can guide you. So what you can do is, for this particular one, just close your eyes. And just on the screen of your mind, you can bring the face of that person you're having a hard time dealing with. See yourself in front of them. And now, rather than focusing on the body and the face, let me bring my attention to the center of our forehead. So let me focus on the light which is within them. Now, I see rays of peace emerging from me and reaching that soul, filling that soul up with a lot of peace. And with these rays of peace, I also choose to send good wishes to that soul. May you be happy. May you be peaceful. May you receive success in whatever you do. And now, just see the two of you having a conversation. It's like two dear friends talking to each other. There is understanding. There is an exchange of good feelings. There is sharing. And with all of that, there is just the joy of being around each other and helping each other. So let me see how beautiful this relationship can be. Take a minute and visualize how the interactions are based. When there is peace between the two of you. Om Shanti. Right, so that was about future focus. I see a chat, so okay, I will send the recordings. Yeah, so watch and wait. So that is step 3. So again, watch and wait is to just understand the primary emotion between the secondary emotion of anger. When someone is getting angry, rather than judging them, let me observe why that anger is getting triggered in them. And definitely there is an underlying emotion of hurt and pain, which we want to reach to in order to help or mend this particular situation or this relationship. So withdraw when appropriate, even when you are still there. So what this really means is that It says that you really need three skills in life in order to be, in order to live a very valuable life. One thing is to be peaceful and yet be aware, which means many of us think that peace is something, we have to isolate ourselves for, maybe go in the mountains, go somewhere away from this world, and then only you can achieve peace. And you cannot achieve peace while being in this world because of so many things happening around. But the truth is, peace is all about your awareness. Where is your awareness going? If your awareness goes externally and you get influenced by external things, then that's it, your peace is gone. But if your awareness goes within, you check your own feelings and emotions, your peace can definitely maintained no matter what, because everything depends on internal resilience, right? When you say the same news to a lot of people, everyone behaves or reacts in a certain way. Some might get really upset. If you say some other thing to the same person, they'll say it's okay, it's fine, and you will wonder, why didn't it make you as mad as it did to me? Right? Why didn't this thing make you upset when it's making me so upset? Why? Is because that external situation is the same, but my resilience to it is varies from soul to soul. Right? My resilience might be low towards it, which is why it makes me very upset. But for another person, their resilience may be higher, so it doesn't affect them. Right. So it means be peaceful yet aware. So you're knowing things around you. It's not that you have to disconnect from this whole world and to be peaceful. You be peaceful, but also understand that it's all about your resilience, inner resilience. And that's what you need to build up, right? That's what you need to build up. The second is being detached yet available. So when someone yells at you, first thing is, you kind of it. You get very influenced by that atmosphere, right? But what spirituality or what meditation really teaches you is you have to practice the art of being detached. What really causes sorrow is attachment. Attachment means I am stuck and glued to what you told me, and it's again and again ringing in my mind, which is why it creates a storm of emotions within me. But when I detach, it's really that you told me something, but I don't go down to the level of accepting it. Yes, it came to me, but I did not take it. I did not accept it. Right? I stepped back. So I did not take it. So, what it really means is you don't let anything external influence your internal state. What happens sometimes is when you're running a computer, there are sometimes a lot of things happening, and suddenly you open up maybe a web application, and here comes a virus, and suddenly things seem to damage your computer screen. So one thing is, you will start to wonder what to do. You'll close or your application, but it has frozen your computer. So what will you do at that case? Most of us will just remove the plug of our computer and put it back again, and things will run. Of course, you have to run your antivirus and all that stuff after that. But whenever your computer freezes because of the application or whatever's running, you pull the plugs out. And it is same for any other device, right? When they don't work, what you try when what works in most cases is you just unplug it and you push it back in and it starts to work, right? So it was a detachment of just few seconds and plugging back that helped you reprogram the machine to work in a way it should be working, right? So when we are influenced, or when we are in certain situations which is triggering emotions in us, the first thing is, let me step back, which means let me not accept what they're saying and make it my own. Attachment is what they told me, I made it my own, I accepted it. So someone told me you're not a good person, and I accepted it, right? I accepted it. I made it my own reality, which is not the truth. And the second, and the detachment would be, I don't accept it. I go within and I ask myself, am I really a bad person? Then the answer comes from within. No, you're not. That person is not understanding you. But from your end, you've done your best and you are not a bad person. You're, in fact, a very strong and good person. then your self-respect is retained because you looked within. You did not accept what came from the other. And that lets you remain peaceful, even though that situation or that person would be telling you something else, right? So in attachment, we accept and we make it our own, which causes suffering. But in detachment, we keep it away, we go within and we check with ourselves, is this really true? Is this really what the truth is? And when the answer comes from within, then that's my my respect that I maintain, right? So detached yet available. So what it really means is I'm detached, which means I'm not really accepting at the moment what you've said, but I'm still available. You know, detachment doesn't mean that, oh, I ignore this person or stop talking to this person. No, that's in a way you're running away from that situation, right? You're running away from it, which might not be the solution, because if you run away from this person, maybe you'll encounter the same situation with another person. And when you see these patterns, when you see if you see many people triggering the same kind of emotions within you, it's a calling for you that there's something really you need to work on yourself, because you'll observe there are patterns in your life. There are certain emotions which are triggered, and they're not just triggered by one person. They're triggered by, you know, several, I would say. And so really the thing here is it's the emotions that are getting triggered I need to work on, not the people. And I can't blame the people. So, you know, then I'll share another life example that, you know, there was a girl whose father was very, you know, used to get very angry at her because he wanted her to be disciplined in a certain way and do things in a certain way. And then she moved to another country, you know, for study. She became independent, but she always came across people who were trying to, you know, who always reminded her of her father, even though now she was away from her father, but they reminded her of her father. Because why? Because those emotions were being triggered. It was the culprit was not really the father, but it was the emotions that were getting triggered. That, oh my gosh, you remind me of that person. You remind me of that person. So what we have to do in this case is work on those emotions. So it requires going within, it requires self-reflection, and at the same time, you know, it's through the process of meditation really that we can heal ourselves. So detached yet available, which means I don't accept what you say, but I'm still there, and you know, very much present in front of you, very much available to, you know, control the situation, or I would say lead to a solution here. And then another thing is disengaged yet proactively involved, which means, you know, sometimes what happens is, a lot of times, again, it's about influence, but at the same time, you require involvement. That means you're involved, especially at, you know, at work or somewhere else. You'll see that you're involved in certain areas of your work, right? Now, you know, you have a big team. Maybe if you're working with a big team and the big team is handling one whole big functionality, and you're involved in a small section of that. So you are pretty much involved, proactively involved, but you are not keen on knowing what other people are doing because it's out of your you know, area of work, right? So similarly, sometimes what happens is we also, you know, we go into the nitty-gritty of things. That means that, yes, you know, this person said like that to me, then I bring out another emotion, or another situation that triggered, or I go to another situation, or I even start talking about it to everyone. So what I'm doing is I'm engaging this emotions to just build up in me, you know, rather than letting it go. I'm just building up by sharing it again with others and others. So disengaging, which means, okay, it happened, now let me do my best to, you know, not bring it up, and at the same time being involved, like my part of this whole situation is what I can do from my end to solve it. And again, it's all about me and me taking responsibility. I would obviously want others to also understand and, you know, change themselves and not be so angry or rude or have those grudges. But most of the time we cannot control them, right? Even if we do tell them, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But if it continues to go on, then it's my responsibility. What can I do from my end so that this emotion of anger is not triggered each time? So positive focus would be that, if someone is making you angry, rather than focusing on the anger which is getting built up at that moment, let me focus my attention on something else altogether. This is again a process of detachment, right? Because yes, if someone's saying something, it's triggering those feelings of hurt, pain, anger. But then when I choose to transform, so transform really means I don't focus on that anymore. I focus on something altogether different. And that's detachment. So usually when they say that, when you're worried, you're stressed, someone's making you angry, you take deep breath, right? You breathe in, you hold your breath, you release. You breathe in, you hold your breath, you release. So what you're really doing at this time is your attention or your focus goes from being angry or developing that feelings of anger towards something else, which means in this case, you're focusing on breathing, right? You're holding your breath, you're releasing, you're taking deep breaths in. So your focus changes. So your energy is again not going into that situation, right? When you put your energy on something, it starts to grow. Your energy is like water that you're giving to a plant. So when you stop giving water to a plant, what will happen? It will die. When you stop giving your energy to a certain kind of thought that is being created in you, it won't lead to it growing into a level of feelings or emotions. You will kill it then and there. So focusing your energy away from that situation to something else, which is why they say take deep breaths or count backwards from 100 to 1, right? You've heard of that solution too, in order to control your anger. It's really a shift of your energy, because it's a very true saying, and they say this, that wherever your energy goes, it grows. That thing grows. So wherever your attention goes to, your energy goes there, and that thing starts growing. So when your attention is going on what that person is saying to you or that situation, then your energy is going there, and that thing is becoming bigger and bigger in your mind. But the moment I switch my energy to something else, then it won't seem to be influencing my mind, and I'll still be able to remain somewhat stable in order to handle that situation. So positive focus on something that helps you stay uninfluenced by what is happening. So hunt the cause is again, it's again goes down to that same thing, that find out why that person is behaving like that. Behind anger, there's always pain, and there's always peacelessness within, right? Why do those emotions of anger come in? It's because somewhere there's peacelessness within. So when you really realize that the person is hurting within, that's why he's reacting or she's reacting in another way, then rather than having anger, you just have compassion that, look at this person, this, is not able to love himself or not be happy, because of which these emotions or this outburst of anger and rudeness is coming in, right? So what we'll do now is we'll pause here for any questions. Does anyone have any questions here? You can put it on the chat if you do.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm thinking is, in generally, like, I think the harmony is more important for the relationship. If there is no harmony, then it will be difficult. Like, how to create a harmony. Basically, you have to do a lot of sacrifice and attachment. Give up some attachment. Unfortunately, it's very hard. Sometimes we are attached to so many things, and due to that we get conflicts, and that creates more conflict, and it's a build up happening, and after that, after some point it bursts. So I think it is like relationship. To me, I understand it's like it's two people thing. If two people come together and work as in harmony, then it works. But I think that's what a lot of people are egoistic and not angels. That's the problem, in this world. So if you have all angels in your life, then it's easy. Like Brahma Kumari, I see all angels. It's easy, like this meeting is easy. Like it's like seeing you, talking to you guys. It's pleasant and it's easy. It's not toxic. But unfortunately, due to samskaras or whatever it is, karma or whatever it is, we end up with the bad people, and you can't escape. And the only option is, it's people can't change. You if they keep on hurting us, then better to remove. That's the only option, right?
Yep. Yep, that's right. So it's again, your attachment, your expectation towards certain things. And like you said, you do have karmic accounts with people. There is a settlement happening. So if you, and that of course, if you attended our Raj Yoga class, we've covered karma in a greater extent, on a greater extent on that topic. So you understand that there are certain things that you carry with you from the past, and not just this life, but even previous lives. So there is settlement that happens, but what we need to do from our end is to finish that settlement that we have with any souls around us. So in that sense, you have to, from your end, send them positive vibrations. But very important thing is, when someone has hurt us, we're not able to send them good wishes so easily because we're still hurting from within, right? So the first thing in the process of meditation is to release the hurt which is within you. And for that, what we do is we connect deeply to ourselves, and we also connect to the divine energy, filling ourselves with a lot of peace and a lot of love. So really, meditation is first about self-healing. Then when you heal yourself, then you are able to send good wishes to somebody else, right? But if you're still hurting from within, before even sending good wishes to others, first you work on your self-hurt. And we'll cover a little bit of this towards the end of the class. So work on your self-hurt first. Overcome that hurt with this vibrations of love you send yourself. And once you get over with that hurt, then you can send those vibrations to people. But when you're still holding on to hurt, it'll get very, very difficult to send vibrations to others. So it's always self-work first, and then others. So like you said, this world is not always filled with angels, but from our end, we can try to our best to be an angel, right? Because they're very, that's what the world needs, more angels. So rather than, expecting angels to be around me, why not I be an angel? And seeing me as someone else would also be inspired to be one. So that's
Means
what.
when you want to be an angel, you have to be ready to sacrifice things. Like right now we are holding on so many things and so much of attachment. I want this power. I want this. I am this. I am that. And it's not easy to release all those things. It's like
True. That is why they always show angels above the surface of the earth flying, right? Because they're beyond the attachments, they're beyond the physical entanglements and the things we're in, right? Expectation, desires. Do you have see any angel having desires? They in fact help fulfill desires of others, right? So yeah, we have to work on ourselves, like I said, go beyond attachment and all these things, and then we can, yes.
another thing I like certain things I think is like kids. I have a teenage daughter, and like they are on cell phone, and sometimes they don't listen to us, and it makes us, raising and dealing with teenage is not an easy thing. But that's how it is. It's like we worry about future, and like career and all those things. But they are just they want to enjoy YouTube, Netflix, and that's a conflict always, because I never grew up with YouTube, Netflix, and all those things. But now all these kids has so much of distraction: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, all this shit. So basically, it's like, I want, as a parent, I want to focus on education, but teenagers, they want to enjoy all the stuff, and it's always complicated, all this relationship, because our attachment to with our kid is very strong. Every parent want their kid to be successful. That is a strong attachment. Kid is another complicated area, especially teenage kid.
That's true. Yeah, and a lot of people come and ask, can you teach meditation to my children so that they can be very peaceful? And we always ask the parents, are you also meditating? And usually the parents say, no, I don't need meditation, but my child needs it. But but the thing really is, children, even when they're teenagers, they learn a lot from their parents. So
Okay.
when I focus on my meditation, I am peaceful, and they are looking at you and seeing you being so peaceful, seeing you being calm. Definitely they would also want to learn something. So teach them, but teach them by being an example. Teach them by doing it yourself first. So you want them to maybe focus less time on TV and everything. Yes, you just sit with them, advise them, counsel them, guide them, but getting angry with them will not serve the purpose here, because they would maybe think anger as a way of you trying to control them or being a dictator, right? Most of the children, they easily react that, hey, don't try to control my life, because in a way they want, what they really want is they should be able to make their own decisions. And what we can do is we can guide them, that we sit with them, talk very nicely, that really, I want the best for you. There's no way I want to control you. I know you can handle your life beautifully, but what I really want to tell you is, that spend time doing what you like, maybe Netflix, but give it some amount and focus on your studies, because that's going to help you in the long run. So from your end, very peacefully guide them, advise them, and from your end, try to be very peaceful and work on yourself. And you see, when they see you transform, they see you peaceful, they'll automatically want to learn from you. So
Actually, well said. Actually, work on yourself. That's the main thing. I myself has so many flaws. So, but as with a parenting with so many flaws, and as you said, work on yourself. That's the main thing. Just once you fix ourselves, but it's not easy because we have so much of conditionings, and we are conditioned soul. We have so much of attachment. We likes this. We have so many likes and dislikes, and it's not easy. Of course, the meditation is the only thing going to help us, but we ourselves distracted with so many things, and we are not perfect again.
right, that's
That's
true.
a main problem. That's the main problem.
We all need to work on ourselves first. And a lot of thing comes with conditioning, like you said. Like for many of us, we when we grew up with our parents, maybe they shouted at us, and they got their way because we got disciplined in a way, and we try to use that same force on our children. But today's generation is different, so they may not take it that way. So when we have to mold ourselves, we have to mold ourselves and see what is really needed for this particular soul. And see, when you're saying something in a peaceful way with good vibrations, with good energy, definitely that other person would want to listen, because it's not the message that really hurts another person, it's the way the message is delivered. The way the message is delivered. You see snowflakes. When snowflakes fall, if there's tiny snowflakes, they'll come nicely and settle on you,
Yeah,
right? They'll
yeah,
settle on you. But
yeah.
if it's the huge one, it comes, it'll just break on your shoulder and it might hurt you,
Right.
right? So when we say things in a very angry and attacking way, then it breaks the morale of the other person, and the other person will start to automatically attack and defend. But when something is said very gently and in a very loving way, then yes, it settles in your intellect, it settles within you, and you want to think about it.
That's true.
So it's also delivery, how we deliver the message.
So like we have a bad programming, like as you said, like how you express yourself. It's very important because we ourselves have some animalistic brain, which like if you attack me, I will retaliate. I will attack you more. Like eye for an eye. Like if you take one eye from me, I will take two eye from you. That
Mhm.
like if you give one X pain, I will give you 10X pain. Like we want to retaliate. That we have that basic instinct, animalistic instinct, the retaliating behavior. Like if somebody hurts us, and we will hurt them back more, either verbally or just that's what happens.
Yeah, that's true.
Sneha, with that said, actually wanted to ask something.
Uh-huh.
For number six, then, I mean, hunt the cause, is it really just about trying to understand why the other soul is getting angry, or is it also about understanding why we ourselves are getting angry? Like going back to what we were talking about,
Mhm.
why is the parent feeling so angry against whatever the kid is doing? So is it maybe understanding that, oh, we're too attached, we're not able to withdraw, or we're wanting things a certain way? I mean, I'm just wondering if hunting the cause is almost as if not more important to do with ourselves as opposed with those around us.
Absolutely. Both ways is important. Also, hunt down your cause. Because, like I said, there are certain patterns that repeat, right? Well, someone will remind you, certain way, like you met someone strong, like I gave the example of that girl. She met someone who was exactly like her dad. Then she met someone who was exactly like her dad. So, really, the problem was her acceptance was not coming out easily for her parent, and anyone who felt triggered the same emotions like it did when she was in front of her father, it created that feeling that, oh, it's just like my father, this one's just like my father, the personality is like that. So really, you have to go within and ask yourself, why is this emotion again and again being triggered in me? So it's both way, hunting the cause internally. So when you see patterns happening, it's definitely something internal, because it's like your call, you need to work on this, which is why you'll see the same patterns emerging again and again within you. And then of course sometimes it's also, I'm trying to understand the other person, why the person is behaving this way, and trying to, giving them a chance rather than completely labeling themselves and sticking to that every time you see that person. Yeah. So both ways would that be. All right, so with that, we'll go to the next slide. And we also have another chat. So I'm going to quickly say, very well said. Okay, thank you. Okay, so now this is a self-counseling, self-reflection slide. So what you have to do here is, maybe, it'd be good if you can take a pen and a paper with you, or maybe you can just make some mental notes if you don't have a pen and paper around. But go ahead and imagine counseling someone who is determined to hurt themselves. If you met someone in reality who's determined to help themselves, and you've helped them, you've tried to understand them, that maybe it'll get easier for you to answer the next three questions. But maybe for those who haven't, maybe it's a nice time to just self-reflect. Someone who's very, very determined to hurt themselves, and you're here as a counselor for them. So the three questions, I just want you to think about them. Maybe we'll pause for a couple minutes, think about them, and we can discuss the answers. All right.
Brahma Kumaris.
Okay, so would anyone like to go ahead and answer? What would be some of the things you would do if you would come across someone who's ready to harm themselves? And if you had to counsel them?
I would, I mean, I have very straight answers, may not be the most efficient, nicest way of talking to them. I would say that for the first question, I'd say it makes no sense and that they shouldn't, of course, consider doing that. And how I would understand them is I would ask them to talk and let them completely express what happened and why they want to do it and what they want to do and what are the other alternatives that they possibly thought about before they came to this decision. And how would you lead themselves away from harming themselves? I will try to talk them into understanding why it's a futile exercise and how that's not going to make any change to the current situation, and it will eventually come back because the solution, because that's not the solution.
Yeah, very nice. Very nice. Anyone else? Anyone else would like to share?
Maybe I'll ask them to read Bhagavad Gita.
Okay. That's what you would say to them. And how would you understand them?
Yeah, basically like they need some help. They are in pain and they need some help. That's what.
Okay. Anyone else?
I would acknowledge how they're feeling in the sense that I mean, rather than trying to tell them how they should be feeling, try to really listen to them and then, repeat like, oh, it sounds like you feel like this for this reason. And then in terms of leading themselves away from harming themselves, try to shift the focus, to the more positive things going on in their life, like what we talked about in the previous slide with shifting focus when it comes to anger. But again, still, like honestly, just from personal experience, what I've found myself saying a lot to people is, you know, I can definitely understand and feel that it's a lot easier said than done, but trying to show them, guide them that it's not impossible and that there is hope is, as the famous or the cliche goes, light at the end of the tunnel. So I think it's more important than rather kind of just throwing how they should feel at them and information at them. There's that angle that I personally think I would take.
Wonderful. That's nice. Yeah. Leading, giving them a sense of hope. Yeah. Very nice.
So and personally, I like Shivani's sister, BK Shivani's sister. I will ask them to watch Shivani's video, YouTube. Go to Shivani's YouTube channel. Just listen to her speech for an hour, and then decide.
Mhm. Okay. So now when you are creating these emotions of anger, so who is creating it? It's us, right? The feelings and the emotions are being created by us. So who is really hurting here? It's us who is hurting ourselves. So this is self-inflicted hurt. And when we keep on creating these feelings of anger or keep on dwelling on these thoughts that make us angry, what is happening here is we're determined to hurt ourselves, right? So now the same things that you would tell another person, I would want you to close your eyes again for a minute and tell yourself. All right, so that's your self-counseling to someone who is in hurting your own self determined by again and again reinforcing that anger. So now you have to tell the same things to yourself. All right, so let's take a minute here and say these same things to ourselves. Shanti. So, like how Harini was saying, there's hope, right? There's hope. So, in a situation where emotionally very hurt, there's still hope. There's still things we can do from our end, and so let's not hurt ourselves anymore, and let's work towards a solution. All right. So, with that, we'll go to the next slide. And this is basically our responses to hurt. So as you can see, when we are hurting, we usually go forward with the following responses. The first one would be avenging, which means someone hurt you, you want to hurt them back. You want, like you mentioned, eye for an eye, right? So and that's the way for me to receive justice. So if you say something to me that very hurt me, I can take revenge in the form of not cooperating with you, or maybe getting angry back, or maybe even talking bad about you to other people, right? Because that's my way of taking revenge. So you might say something to me and I might, go on talking to other people and saying, bad things about you, because then I feel like, oh, this is my way of taking revenge. But that doesn't help. That, emotionally depletes us, because we're again, when you're talking about something bad, we're again going towards a negative direction. So it's not healing happening in any sort. Healing only comes when there's positive energy involved. So when we exchange anything negative with something negative coming from our end, that's no way leading to healing for neither me and not for that other person. Right? So that's one response. That's what most of us, what we choose for. We want a revenge, right? The next is reform. That means we want them to change their way. And this is the most common thing. Like like I started, we justify our anger, that our anger is valid. It's valid. It's legitimate, because that person has to change their way. Right? So when we look for that reforming that comes from that end, and then it's like I'm trying to exert certain kind of control over them, and that control doesn't happen, then I get even more hurt, because I am not able to control the way they do things. So one is, of course, you try to change them with anger, but as you know, it's a temporary solution. It won't lead to anything long lasting or positive for the two of us or whoever's involved in the situation. Then the other one is forgiving. Forgiving means that you want to bestow forgiveness and you want to let bygones be bygones, which means you really, really want to erase that memory, or you want to let go of the emotions. Forgiving is letting go of that emotions, and forgetting is letting go of that memory altogether. When it happens that we bring it from the past and we relive it, when we forget, that memory no longer comes from the past and bothers us in the present. So these are our responses to hurt. And what we're really going to focus more on is forgiving and the forgetting aspect. Okay. So we'll pause again because there's a chat. So I see something from Tejaswini. So I'll read that first. In case of context like kids, the other person. So how do you get them to change? And again, this is about kids. So like I was explaining before, from your end, you can just deliver the message from your end in a very gentle way. Be a guide, be a friend, be a counselor to your kids. But anger will, not work, because it's going to lead to a very defense mechanism coming from the child itself, where the child feels you're trying to control me. So from our end, sorry, my question was about people, not kids. Okay, so like that of kids. Okay, so yes, you definitely can't ignore anyone. But from your end, I would say that when words are not helping, when you're trying to explain something very nicely to somebody, uh, and it's still not working, from your end, all you can do is send your positive vibrations to that soul, because your vibrations always reach the souls. Your words may not reach them or go within. Sometimes you just hear, but you don't listen, which means you don't take it in, you don't think about it. But your vibrations are something you can definitely send to souls, and your positive vibrations can also help the soul. So from your end, as much positive you can be, and you can send those vibrations to others. That also brings about great transformations in others. But for that, you have to be very strong. So that's why, the question is, it's the focus is all on yourself. So in the path of spirituality, meditation, you don't have to worry about the world, but just think about you. And that's why we say, when you change, the world changes, because when you're peaceful, you're positive, you'll see things around you. Your vibrations itself is bringing about a change in the atmosphere around you. People around you, relationships around you, situations around you change. So let's focus on ourselves when we cannot control anyone else or their behavior. So what about others don't forgive me? What about others who don't forgive me or forget? So again, it's, if others can't forgive me, it's up to them. But from my end, I can do my best to clear my own emotions and energy, right? So let me focus on myself. That's what I would say. You can send your good vibrations to others, and so if you feel you've hurt someone in the past, you can always send them good wishes and clear that settlement that you have with that soul. So that way there'll no longer be any pull coming from that soul in terms of I did something to this person and now I'm feeling bad about it. When you did something, it's gone, it's past, but now let me send my vibrations to that soul, and let's clear it out. If that soul is not yet in a position to forgive, it's fine, but at least from my end, I can send good wishes. All right, so with that, we'll go to the next slide, which is more on forgiveness. So over here, it's first of all forgiveness. Like I said, it's easy to say, and we all know that forgiving it's good. It helps me be peaceful, but it's not easy when you've already been hurt, right? Especially if your trust has been broken, someone has cheated on you. So, all the more you're holding on to that resentment within. So for forgiveness, it requires these few steps that are mentioned in the slide. First is you don't choose to be a victim. A victim means, let me stop blaming, not blame others for my current situation. I'll give you an example of this marathon player. I'm not sure if this is his right name, but I think it's Chris Moon. So he's a marathon player. He lost his arm and he lost his hand, like leg, when one of the, while he was in a mine. In a mine, whilst when some of the work was going on, because of some issue with the machines or something, I believe, he lost his arm and he lost his leg. But he didn't choose to blame the people who work at the mine. He didn't choose to blame the processes or whatever happened. But he went beyond the phase of being a victim to someone who completely accepts the situation and sees what they need to go ahead and do. So he got a false arm, he got a false leg, and he became a marathon runner. And he ran 4 marathons a year. So what happened in this case was that blame, that blame aspect, we hold on to it. We get very attached to it. That you are doing this to me. You're the reason of all my suffering. You're the reason of my pain. And we are in that victim mode. And when we are in the victim mode, we are not able to find a solution for ourselves, because we see ourselves victimized, and we're, also we enjoy being in that mode, because then I'm not responsible, right? It's happening and I'm just there, I'm the victim. But when you go out of that, okay, let me not blame anyone. If this situation is in front of me, What can I do from my end? There are everything. When you see others in their life, they hit rock bottom, and how they emerge from that situation back to reaching great heights is definitely, they never blamed anyone. Yes, things happen to them, maybe it's a very unfortunate incidences, but they let go of it. They don't keep on holding on to it. They let go, and they say, what is it next I can do? What is it next I can do? Will this work for me? Let me look at that. Right? So then you go beyond blaming, and you take your responsibility and ownership of what I can do from my end to move on and to go ahead. And then the next is stuff happens. Stuff happens in the sense is things happen, right? So again and again, when I tell everyone, hey, this one did this to me, this one did this to me, this one did this to me, what is happening is I'm looking for, first of all, I'm looking for attention. I'm looking for some sort of affection from the other soul, or sympathy from the other soul, right? Which is why I always keep on reminding myself, and also I keep on reminding others, hey, this person does this to me, does this to me. So I'm again playing a very victim card, but at the same time, I'm also wanting some kind of compassion from the other souls. That's why I keep on repeating the incident. And when I keep on repeating the incident, what happens? It's very, very difficult for me to forgive. Very difficult, because I again bring it up. I bring it up. So the energy with those emotions keep on growing. And when those emotions keep on growing, the energy, there's no way forgiveness will happen. Because for forgiveness, acceptance, healing is required, and only then you can forgive. So when you accept, first thing is, yes, so you take ownership, you take responsibility, and from your side, you try your best that not those things keep on re-emerging in front of me. Let me not talk about it more and more. Let me not dwell on it more and more, but let me now focus on the solution. Right? So there is benefit in everything. So which means that if something is happening in my life, let me not consider it like, oh, why is it happening to me? Why do others don't face this? We usually compare ourselves easily with the lives of others, but if you look at it, like, we all are on our separate journey. My life cannot be like yours, right? We're on this journey, and we're here to learn something in life. We'll learn to so let me consider this moment or this situation as a way that I need to learn something. Many people who come for meditation, they come with because of a lot of pain they have incurred in their lives. There's a lot of pain and sorrow, because of which they come learn meditation. And what happens? It completely transforms their life. If maybe that situation or that person was not there in their life, they wouldn't have learned meditation, and they would have carry forward with the life the same way. Then when you learn meditation, you learn how to work on your thoughts, be in more control of your thoughts. Then your life changes. So everything comes with a benefit. So let me not say this word that why is this happening to me, but let me use the sentence, this is happening for me. So not happening to me, but this is happening for me to learn something, for me to grow, for me to transform something which is within me, and I'm not getting a complete picture of what it is. But if I sit in self-reflection and I ask myself, definitely I can get those answers, right? So benefit in everything. Then release, let go, and be free. So it's all about letting go. Angels, they fly, they're free, right? They're not bonded by the chains of the earth. So again, it's for you to release. Let me go beyond this. For how long can I hold on to all these burdens of the emotions I'm carrying on myself? When you're traveling, do you like to travel with several suitcases around you, unnecessarily burdened? It just doesn't let you explore in your journey, right? Because you're stuck with all those big bags and baggages if you're traveling somewhere. But when you travel just with a small backpack, how light you feel, and it's so easy for you to explore your present moment, right? So that telling yourself the same thing. When I'm holding on to these emotions and feelings of hurt, it's just a burden I'm carrying. It's not letting me enjoy my present life. It's not letting me explore my present to the extent that I would want to. So, do I really want to carry all this with me? Right? Then forgiveness is personal. Again, it's personal, right? It just doesn't. It's not that I say that, oh, I forgive you and it's done. No, it requires forgiveness. Actually, when they say you've really forgived someone, when you have forgotten that a whole incident, which means someone was angry with you, and from your heart you've forgiven that person. So the next time that person comes in front of you, that past scene will not interfere in your interaction with that person. No longer those emotions from that past encounter will come and interfere with your present interaction. That's when you can say you've really forgiven, because after that real forgiveness comes forgetting, which means I forgot. That means next time I see you, I'll behave with you like I'm meeting you for the first time. If there's a clean slate here. I'm not carrying anything from the past, right? So it's very personal. So again, it requires work within. Right now, we cannot be like, I want this person to forgive me. That's up to that person. But from my end, if I have to forgive somebody, let me make that effort, right? And this again comes with first healing the self, and then with that you can forgive, and then you will see that how it will help you even forget that feeling, that you have for that person. Then, so the next is, of course, forgetting, which means forgetting again requires detachment. When we spoke about detachment, which means stepping back. You cleared that scene and now you don't get attached to that scene again and again. It's self-responsibility. It's your own effort, and it's also your inner strength, right? So to forgive, you require strength, right? It's easy to take revenge. Eye for an eye is easy, but in order to forgive somebody, it's a matter of great, great strength. So, and it leads to peace, inner peace. So, one is easy way out. Someone's yelling, you yell back, but this is not going to help you. But from your end, you give your best to forgive and forget, and then that will enable you to retain your inner peace. All right, and with this, I just want to speak about a few points on meditation, and we can also do a meditation on forgiveness and forgetting, right? So for meditation, you have to create your own space, which means this is a space you create within you. So when it comes to meditation, it's important that you definitely, when you're starting off with meditation, you're new to it, find yourself a place at home, which is far away from any sort of noise or any disturbances from any other family members. So find a small place for you where you can sit in silence, because in meditation, what we do is we try to go inwards. In order to go inwards, the external silence which is around us lets us go within and connect with the internal silence that we have. Right? So create your space first for meditation, where find a place where you don't have to hear too much noise or there's no disturbance, because your mind is anyways wandering. And then if you let it, if you let yourself be in a space where there's also external disturbance, then automatically your mind will start to think about, oh, this noise is coming from here, this is coming from here, right? So create that space for yourself where you can really sit in silence. Then imagine you're looking at the world from far away. So, you're like this angel who has flown on top, and now you're looking at everything from a distance. So everything appears to be very, very small. When you take off in an airplane, everything you look down looks like toys to you. Even the cars look like toy cars, because you are gone beyond that. So even when you go beyond your situation, and something you completely influenced, and you will feel that it's really not that big a deal. Yes, I've become so entangled with it that I see it as something big, but actually it's not that big, because I've gone beyond it. and I've got detached from it. So I start looking at it as something very small and something I can definitely take care of. Then witness and observe your own thoughts and feelings and let them become small too. So with observation, everything dies down. All your emotions, when you observe it, you see your emotions will ultimately die down. So when you're having thoughts, think about it. Sneha, what's happening? Why am I feeling like that? Calm down, and you'll see those big thoughts, which feel like a storm, will start to settle. Which is the quietest place in a storm? The quietest place in a storm is the eye of the storm. The center of the storm is the quietest place. So when there are storms inside my mind, or the quietest place is also within me, right? So I have to go to the center of that. So first I have to observe my thoughts. Then I reach a point where I can talk to myself and center myself. And that's when I will see the feelings of peace will start to emerge. There will be quietness within. My mind won't be chattering, or my mind won't be in upheaval anymore. Then let quietness enter your consciousness, and consciously send vibrations of peacefulness to someone in particular, right? So this is also a part of when you forgive somebody, you send good wishes to them, right? Or to the world in general. So what we do in Raj Yoga meditation in Brahmakumaris is we work a lot on ourselves, which is we are souls or beings of light. So that's the identity we keep the awareness of, and then we connect to the divine energy. So our healing happens by connecting to the divine source, because the divine source is filled with power, filled with love, filled with positivity. So I take in that positivity, I heal myself with that positivity. Then when I'm healed, then I start giving that energy to the souls around me, and particularly the ones who maybe are, giving me a hard time, or are the source of the sorrow, or I would say anger. Well, they're not really the source, but they're triggering it within me, right? The source is my own feelings and emotions, right? So that hurt is created within by me. They might feel like they are the trigger points. So we send them good wishes. We from our side, when we keep sending good wishes, you will see it's automatic forgiveness, and then you will see that automatically also you forget. That means those scenes don't emerge again and again in front of you. All right, so any questions so far on what we discussed? Is everyone okay? It's quite,
Monica, I do have a question.
yes.
So sometimes somebody might have caused some damage to someone you love, maybe not directly to you, but someone you care about and love and who mean a lot to you. When you forgive them at that point, aren't you in a way betraying the person you love? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes, I get, yeah. So, ask yourself, if you don't forgive them and you're holding on to that negative energy towards that soul, how are you helping the other soul who maybe was treated badly? By you creating negative energy for that soul, who behaved badly with your maybe family member or someone close to you, how are you helping them? You can help them when you can send positive energy to even the family member and also that soul. It's not that you send positive energy to one person and send negative energy to the other person. It doesn't work that way. If there is negativity, then the negativity is going to influence your behavior. And even if you want to send good wishes to somebody, it will hinder your process of doing that, because you're letting the negativity grow within you. And if negativity is growing within you, it's killing your positivity. So one thing is you forgive that person, which means you send good wishes. That will also enable you to send good wishes to your family members and a lot of other people, because you're working on your mind and you're enabling positive thoughts to emerge. But if you don't encourage the process of creating positive thoughts, or if you only limit it to a few people, like, oh, I'll send you good wishes, but to you, I cannot send good wishes. When I think of you, I am going to go mad. Then, you're not creating that inner strength within you to, in general, send positive energy constantly, because that requires practice, and that practice is not just limited to one person. It's in general, whoever you see, you should be able to send them good wishes. So I would really say is, it's not that you're betraying that other person, but in a way you really want to help them both. You want to help them both. So you staying positive in that situation will help healing to happen from both the ends.
No, I don't want to help the person who hurt the person I love, right? Because
Yeah.
yeah, I don't. I mean, so there are two things, right? One, I actively send negative energy, like you're saying. And the other thing is I could just cut them out completely, right? I don't have to necessarily send anything. Um, it might be perceived as sending negative energy by some people, but not really, right? For example, the kind of feeling you will have to someone you don't even know, right? You're not involved. That's it. So that's also a possibility, right? But if I am actively trying to forgive them, and if I do, then I'm not able to do that because honestly, I would feel bad too if that happens to me. When somebody hurts me and say my family is really happy with them and they don't care about the fact that they hurt me, my first question would be, don't you, doesn't it bother you that that person hurt me? I know, how can you say go and party with that person or something like that, right?
Yeah,
So
it's of
it just
course.
doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I understand that, when you are, your family member especially has been hurt by somebody, it does affect you. But then again, you said that I don't want to forgive this person. All right, don't forgive. Then when that person comes in front of you, can you keep your calm? Can you keep neutral thoughts for that person? Or will you let anger emerge in you? That's the question you need to ask yourself. If you're okay with the anger emerging you every time you see that person, then that's fine, right? That's fine. But is that what you want? Ask yourself. Or do you want that, I want to be peaceful, I don't want to let again and again the same memory ring in my mind that this person has done something to maybe a family member and make myself feel down or low. So that's again a question for you, really, what you want to do. Do you want to let that anger remain in sense of, it keeps coming back in form of memories, or you really want to let go of those memories? So, and that again, it requires self-healing too. So you have to work on ourselves too. So that's what I was, talking about. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm. So what we'll do is we have a few minutes left. So we'll do a little bit of meditation. Okay, so what you can do is just sit back and relax. Take a deep breath in, hold your breath. Take a deep breath out. Take a deep breath in, hold your breath, and take a deep breath out. Now slowly focus your attention towards the center of your forehead. I, the being of peace and the being of light, I reside in the center of my forehead. I am a tiny star of light in this body. It is I who thinks, I who feels, and I who create my thoughts. So now let me create this one thought, that I am a very powerful soul. And And let the emotions of all that hurt which you've experienced from another person emerge. Emotions of hurt caused by bad behavior, betrayal of trust, cheating. Let all those emotions resurface in my mind and let me observe each and every thought that I am creating while I'm observing my emotions. Now ask yourself, do I want to hold on to these emotions or do I want to heal them and forget them? In order for me to heal them, first, let me heal my hurt. So let me connect to the divine energy through my thoughts. I see myself connecting to another point of light, which is the divine energy. I see rays of light, peace, love fall on me, healing my mind. See these rays of peace fall on you. You feel loved. You feel peaceful. You feel light. See these emotions now become smaller and smaller in front of your eyes. From something big, it is turning into something small and disappearing from your conscious. Feel the healing light of the divine reach you, clear everything in your mind. Now, let one thought emerge. I am a being of peace, and let me send peace to that soul that hurt me so that I can clear whatever account I have with this soul from the past birth, from whatever time. Let me clear it by sending my good wishes. I see that soul in front of me. The rays of divine light that reach me from this divine source, I transmit to the other soul. I fill that soul with light. Fill that soul with might. And let God's vibrations reach that soul and touch that soul, letting positivity emerge from the other soul. Let that light remove the darkness of ignorance for that soul, and let the soul experience the own peace and love within. By enabling the process of sending good wishes, I heal myself, my mind, and I also send good wishes to any souls who I may have a karmic account with, settling that karmic account. As this account settles with this positive energy, I feel lighter, and there is freedom within. I am not just physically free, but emotionally free. Free as an angel. Om Shanti. All right, so this was it from my end. Thank you so much for joining this evening. Just want to let you know that if any of y'all are interested in joining our Raj Yoga course, we will be having a new one starting in the month of July. So if you have signed up for our events calendar, you will get the email towards the end of this month. But if you haven't signed up for our events calendar, then if you want, you can put in your name and your email address in the chat. That way we can get you all added to our system, and you will receive emails on when the class is starting, when do we have other workshops in the next month, so you can be informed and you can register for them. So that's pretty much it from my end. So if anyone also wants the recording of this class, and that reminds me I need to stop it too. So